All right, week 16 NFL picks. One more week after this one until we get to the highly awaited NFL playoffs. You already know I can't wait for that. The Bucs clinched today. New England on the outside looking in for the first time in about a decade. So, that's what makes week 16, 17, even 15 so important towards the end of the regular season. But let's focus on the here and now. Let's focus on week 16 NFL picks. I'm coming off a 2-2 week last week, but I'm showing improvement. I'm getting more consistent. I'm getting better. And that's really all I can ask for at this point. So let's get on to week 16. A lot of entertaining games on tap, I believe. So check out the Instagram at NESportsUnited. Check out the website, nesportsunited.com. Doing a lot of writing over there if you're interested in doing some reading. So week 16 NFL picks. Let's not waste any more time. All spreads provided by FanDuel Sportsbook. Week 16. How many times have I said that? Let's go. All right, let's get this started off with a shebang. My favorite pick of the weekend right here. The strongest pick. LA Rams, Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Give me the Rams +1 in a pick 'em. I understand what happened last week for LA. They lost at home to the New York Jets for New York's first win of the season. Embarrassing performance. But let me assure you, Sean McVay, that coaching staff, is not gonna let this team get humiliated again, at least in the regular season, maybe even further than that. This team probably just went through the most rigorous week of practice, the most rigid week of practice anyone has ever gone through. They're not going to be humiliated again. And I know what you're thinking. Seattle, home field advantage could be daunting, but in the Rams, in Sean McVay's 3-year history with the Rams, they're 2-1, and that one loss was a narrow 1-point nail biter. So, the Rams can hang in this game in Seattle. And Seattle's defense leaks too many yards for my liking. They give up the most passing yards by far. And, let me read off the quarterbacks they've faced. I have it written down right here, actually. Nick Mullins, Cam Newton, who can't throw for over 200 yards, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was benched, Kirk Cousins at home, Dwayne Haskins, who was a backup, Colt McCoy, who is a backup, Carson Wentz, who's now a backup, and Sam Darnold, who was hurt for most of the year. I didn't read any Aaron Rodgers. I didn't read any Tom Brady. I mean, they have Russell Wilson on their team, so they can't face him. I didn't hear any Patrick Mahomes on that list. That's a bunch of C quarterbacks right there. And they still give up the most passing yards in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Rams defense, on the other hand, is elite. They give up the fewest yards allowed. Second best defense on third down. They give up less than 20 points a ball game. And they're third in sacks. So meaning Russell Wilson, for the second consecutive week, he faced Washington last week. He's going to be under fire this week yet again. And against a motivated, fired up Rams team. I love this pick. I'm not letting go of it. Seattle will fall at home to LA 33-26. The New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills squaring off for the second time this season. This time in Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. I'm going to take Buffalo -7. Buffalo's just on top of their game, but Cam Newton's still the starter for the Patriots into the later stages of this season. A lot of fans and media want Jarrett Stidham to get the start, but it's not going to happen. You know why? Because he hasn't earned it. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, Belichick, the smartest coach the league has ever seen, doesn't think he's earned it. I'm going to go with that guy. Josh McDaniels, one of the most respected offensive coordinators in the league, doesn't think he's earned it. Yeah, I'm going to go with that guy. He's a mystery to us. We want to see what we have in him. But those guys have seen him practice every day for 2 years. They know what he is. He's not a mystery. He was a 4th-round pick for a reason. The door for a Stidham start was open all year long, and he hasn't earned it. So, back to the game, though. The Patriots have only passed for 400 or more yards 4 times this season. Just to put it into perspective for you, Buffalo averages that many. So it's a complete offensive mismatch. And if you think, Buffalo might want to rest up before the playoffs, I don't think that's the case, because Buffalo, they want to get even with Belichick. They want to even the series. They haven't beaten Bill Belichick twice in 1 year since 1999 as a franchise. They're going to do it this week, and they want to do it. I guarantee you they're going to be motivated to go into New England. What kind of momentum is that going to play for a Buffalo team wanting to make it into the later stages of the playoffs? That'll be a perfect way to do it. And, if you think Gillette Stadium's a tough place to play offense, maybe with fans there, but Buffalo, they can play anywhere. You saw it last week. 48 points against Denver. The 4 games in which Buffalo has accumulated the most passing yards, or total yards in general, rather. At Denver, at Miami, at San Francisco, and at New York. So they can play on the road. They can play wherever. What's the old cliche? Defenses always travel. Well, Buffalo's offense seems to travel as well. And Josh Allen, man, he's built perfectly for the NFL as currently constructed. So I'm going to take Buffalo to beat New England and roll over them by almost 2 touchdowns. What the score I have for you? 28-16 Buffalo over New England. The wobbly Pittsburgh Steelers versus a team that has grown quite fondly in my heart, the Indianapolis Colts. They play this weekend. I tossed and turned on this one. I wasn't quite sure where I was going to go. I couldn't quite grasp it. I wrestled with it, but I'm going to go Pittsburgh -1 for one reason, and mainly one reason only. The Colts offensive line is banged up. They're missing both their offensive tackles, Ryan Costanzo and Braden Smith, against a pass rush in Pittsburgh, which I know they've lost 3 in a row, the Steelers have, but that pass rush is still real. They're number 1 in sacks, and that's just not a good matchup for an old, unathletic, not mobile Phillip Rivers. I just picture Phillip Rivers trying to make plays, but he just can't quite escape the grasp of TJ Watt, of guys like that. Mike Tomlin, I feel like he's too much of a good motivator. He'll get a fire under those guys. They're not going to face plant to the end line here. They face Cleveland next week. They're gonna build up some momentum. I feel they're not gonna lose 5 in a row going to the playoffs. Mike Tomlin's they're too good for that. I haven't been impressed with them, but I feel like it's time for them to get motivated again. I mean, they were 11-0. They kind of got complacent. They started dancing on the midfield logos. I think it's time that they come back to earth. And for Pittsburgh, after averaging 30 points per game through the first 10 weeks of the season, they haven't scored 20 since then. We're in week 16 right now. They haven't scored over 20 since week 10. This is going to be a low-scoring defensive matchup. Indianapolis also headlines a really strong defense themselves. So I think it's going to be close. I think, it'll be low-scoring. It'll be one of those old-school games that is going to be a grinded-out game. But I'll take Pittsburgh to win 23-20 over. It pains me to do this because I love what the Colts are doing, but injury-wise, Phillip Rivers-wise, that pass rush for Pittsburgh is kind of daunting in that spot. Number 1 in sacks, like I said. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh to win 23-20 over Indy. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Green Bay hosting Tennessee. Although I think there could be value with Tennessee at +3, I'm going to go with Green Bay. I'm going to go with the Packers -3. Why? I'm so glad you asked. That Tennessee defense is not good. They relinquish a lot of yards in bulk. That Jadeveon Clowney move hasn't quite lived up to the level that they wanted to. Tennessee hasn't had a sack in 3 weeks. Look out. Translation, Aaron Rodgers is going to be comfortable in the pocket. And if you want some numbers, here you go. Last year, Aaron Rodgers was sacked 36 times. His passer rating was 95. Good. This year, he was sacked 18 times. His passer rating shot up to 118. He is elite no matter what, but if you give him comfort, if you give him time, he's going to make plays and he's going to set the world on fire. Tennessee 5-1 on the road this year. That kind of scared me at first, but if you do a little deep dive, the teams they faced were Indies. That's a good win on the road, but then you go into Minnesota, not a playoff team. Baltimore's not as good as we thought. Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. Jacksonville, who's terrible, and Denver, who can't move the football. So that's not a real good resume for me to believe in there. And to be honest, I get the better quarterback. I get the home team. I get the better defense. I just get it all here. I'm scared of Derrick Henry a little bit. Who isn't? But the Packers haven't turned it over in like a month, and the Titans don't have much of a defense. So this is going to be a shootout. Look out for the points. This is going to be on red zone watch all day long. I can't wait for this game. I'm going to take the Packers to win. Derrick Henry does scare me, I will admit, but that's why I think there's value at Tennessee +3, but I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go with the complete package, the entire team, the team that's rolling, the team that hasn't turned it over. And Green Bay will run over Tennessee 37-31. And if I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, happy holidays, happy new year. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.